So, you want to start a conversation in British English, but the moment arrives and suddenly your brain goes, no, let's stay quiet forever. Is that relatable? Well, whether it's a neighbor, a colleague, a stranger at the bus stop, you want to connect, but you don't want to come off weird or strange or awkward, or worse, be met with one of those polite but awkward smiles like the and then a silence. Hello, you wonderful people. Welcome to English Right Now. My name is Roy, your British English teacher. Now, I've been a teacher of English for nearly 15 years, and in all that time, I've helped thousands of students on their journey towards mastering things like a modern British RP accent, British English, and also talking about culture. And in this lesson, we're going to talk about why starting conversations feels so hard in the UK. And if you want to learn more about this topic, there is an exclusive PDF from this lesson. You can get it as a present if you just click on the link in the description below, and you can download it for free. And please do remember to give this lesson a like and let me know in the comments any other things that you would like to learn in future lessons. But here's the truth that most teachers don't tell you. British people do actually want to connect, but the doorway into connection here it can be quite subtle. It's not about being loud or overly enthusiastic. In fact, if you are overly loud and you are overly enthusiastic, that can actually put British people off. It's about finding safe, familiar, kind of gentle entry points. And I think there are 3 rules to kind of meeting people and starting conversations in British English. First up, small talk equals social safety. Always engage in small talk. Don't go for the heavy conversations first. I often hear students saying, well, I'm direct in my culture. Why can't I be direct in the UK? Well, that's not quite how British culture works. A lot of us favour negative politeness strategies and kind of preserving the negative face. We've talked about this before, but it's basically the idea that the way of engaging with somebody should respect their space, their privacy, and almost give them autonomy and a bit of distance. The second rule you need to engage with after small talk is humour. Humour will give you emotional warmth. We rely so heavily on humour to show things like our intelligence, our fact that we don't engage too heavily, too quickly, and lots of other things. We use sarcasm sometimes. We do need to talk about this, but we use it passive-aggressively sometimes. But often sarcasm can be used just to sort of diffuse a situation rather than escalate it and lead towards conflict. And the third rule is low pressure equals high trust. If you don't pressure that person, again, talking about negative politeness, negative face, give them a bit of space, don't put pressure on them, don't back them into a corner, that will create trust and safety for the listener. So small talk, humour, low pressure. These are 3 key rules that I advise, if you want to meet people and start conversations in the UK, these are 3 things you should follow. So once you understand those 3 rules, you will never be stuck in silence again. So let's break down some conversation openers. This is something that a lot of people ask for. Some conversation openers that are polite, low pressure, and they're not going to make anybody panic. I don't want to panic. So if you talk to me like this, I'm not going to panic. So first of all, the most classic conversation is the weather. Talking about the weather seems to be one of British people's favourite pastimes. I think this is a stereotype we often get labelled with, this kind of idea that all we do is talk about the weather. But starting a conversation off with something like, oh, lovely day, isn't it? Even if you are being sarcastic, by the way. If it is a lovely day, you could say, wow, lovely day, isn't it? And the person might go, well, yes, really. It really is lovely. That will start a nice conversation. If it's raining, put a bit of intonation in there and make it sound a bit sarcastic. Lovely day, isn't it? This kind of idea, change your tone, make it sound more sarcastic. British people will appreciate it, whether it's true or sarcasm. Another one is a bit grey today. Whew, typical, right? There you go. Another bit of humour, but quite often it is quite overcast in the UK. This is something, we do have sun. It just seems to be hiding a lot behind the clouds. So talking about the weather is a great way to really start a conversation. And you can do this pretty much anywhere. Now, one thing as a side note, as I will say, is if somebody makes an observation about the weather, it's a good idea to kind of agree with them. If they say it's a lovely day, you should say, yes, it is. It's lovely, isn't it? Really hot. Maybe even kind of carry on the conversation, exaggerating how hot it is. But again, don't go, well, it's actually hotter in my country. This is nothing. This will shut down the conversation very, very quickly. Likewise, if it's really cold, a British person says, it's freezing today. Tell me about it. Would be a great way to kind of agree with them. Tell me about it. Delivered quite flatly means I totally agree. Don't go, well, it's colder where I live, because where can a person go from there? Another great conversation is talking about the queue. If you are stood in a queue, British people famously, we love queuing. It's a sacred British activity, I think. And you can just say, wow, this queue's long, isn't it? Observing the queue's length is a great way to start a conversation with somebody in front or behind you. And maybe even sort of saying, wow, it always seems to be like this on a Monday, really busy. And then you can start complaining. There is a joy in kind of light complaints. Don't overly criticize, don't overly complain. But that's a great way to start a conversation. Casual observations about things other than the queues can also really help. Maybe you're in a shop and you say, oh, are you eyeing up that cake as well? It looks really good, doesn't it? I think you can have it though. This kind of thing. So a nice general observation. Or something like even something quite, I love your coat. Where did you get that? This kind of thing, compliments will always go down well. But don't exaggerate. Don't go, oh, I think you're the most amazing person in the world. You are stunning in that coat. That coat is stunning. I think it looks like a... Don't exaggerate. Again, keep it light. Keep it like, oh, I think you've got great taste. Where did you get that coat? And again, it could also be about context, where you are. Maybe you're at an event and you could say, have you been to this event before? That will start a conversation up. Or maybe you could ask, which pubs are popular in the village? These kind of things. So that will start a conversation as well. Don't talk about politics or the latest events in the news. These aren't things to really start chats about, especially, two people stood at a bus stop. Have you seen the news? Even down the pub, I wouldn't really talk about current events unless they're quite lighthearted, like, did you hear they found a duck in the local town? These kind of things are fine, but talking about international politics can cause problems. So now let's talk about your energy. But now let's talk about energy levels. So British conversations, they're often quite light and playful, or they sometimes you bond over a shared discomfort of a situation, like, oh dear, God, isn't that noisy over there? Remember that when you speak to somebody, don't go in there with too much energy. It's about gentle curiosity. It's not an interrogation. So when you say, I love your coat, where did you get it? Don't then start saying, how much was it? Were there other colours? It's not an interrogation. And don't overly force a smile. Don't overly, hey, this kind of thing. Keep it quite low key, a bit. You're right. And your tone of voice should be quite soft. Your pace quite relaxed. Think of it kind of like you're throwing a little stone into the sea. You're not launching a firework. If they catch this little stone and toss it back, then great. If not, by the way, just disengage. If a British person replies and they start engaging, that's absolutely wonderful. But if they kind of shut it down, that's okay too. Try again later, or preferably try it with another person. So we've touched on what to talk about, but let's really kind of reiterate what not to talk about, what definitely not to lead with. Politics. Definitely not politics unless you're in a very specific setting. Personal questions, especially about money, religion, or relationships. Don't go too deep. And compliments, as I say, don't go too intense. Don't make them too intense. You're so beautiful to a stranger could be seen as quite creepy. So just keep it quite light. Oh, I like your hair. British culture warms up slowly. Think of it like a cup of tea. You need to let it sort of brew for a while. Okay, so it's quite a slow process. Starting a conversation isn't about impressing people. It's about signaling that I'm safe to talk with, I'm friendly, and I see you. And when you lead with that energy, people will feel it. You do not, and I'm going to tell you, you do not need perfect grammar. Don't worry about that. Don't apologize. Don't over-apologize, for sure, but don't apologize about your English. You don't need a clever opening line. I've seen students rehearsing lines over and over again. Just a casual observation about the weather is fine. All you need is presence and just a bit of playfulness. Be brave. So if you want a challenge this week, I want you to start a conversation with this opening line. Lovely day, isn't it? And of course, if it's a terrible day, make it sarcastic. Lovely day, isn't it? Phew. Try this conversation starter this week and let me know how you get on. Of course, always pick your environment. Make sure it's not with people who are rushing around. Maybe it's somebody at the bus stop. Maybe it's somebody in the same lift as you at work. These kind of places. Maybe it's even with the taxi driver. But just practice. Remember, let it be simple. Let it be human. Let it be you, the real you. Start with something light. Let the rhythm of the conversation build naturally. And if it doesn't go anywhere, remember, that's okay. The courage to try again is what makes you fluent. Not just in language, but in life. If this video helped you, please do give it a like, subscribe, and share it with somebody who wants to feel more at home in English. And if you want an exclusive PDF from this lesson as a present, you can click on the description down below and download it completely free. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next lesson.